the reservation app that celebrated an anniversary I didn't have. The tablet on our kitchen counter pinged with party manners I didn't order. Happy 5th anniversary, Milo and Milo, the reservation app confettied across the screen. Chef's tasting for 9:30 p.m. Table 17. Your favorite corner is ready. A photo of the room I'd never sat in appeared, brick, velvet banquette, a chandelier pretending to be a galaxy. I wiped my hands on a towel I suddenly wanted to apologize to and tapped details. Notes bloomed, no down feathers, low light, 2 sea salt martinis to start, chocolate fig at the end, she pretends not to like it. Underneath, a message from the mater, we'll hold the corner, tell her we remember the scarf. Our kitchen smelled like basil and decency. The app smelled like cruelty in good lighting. We had been practicing a quiet kind of excellent. Alia slept with her palms splayed over my ribs like she was taking attendance of my breath. On Sundays, I ironed pillowcases because flat cotton feels like a promise heat can keep. Our balcony forgave being too narrow for 2 chairs by letting us take turns and calling it choreography. When rain came after midnight, we cracked the window and let the city wash its face while we washed each other's. Her knee hooking behind my thigh like a knot meant for boats, my mouth finding that nickel-bright patch beneath her collarbone where breath confesses it wants to be heat. Our apartment learned our names by touch. Then Drift moved in without paying a deposit. Rosemary emigrated from the kitchen. Something mineral took the least, citrus poured over stone, a perfume with posture and an autograph. Her phone adopted a 2-note chime at 12:06 and 12:11 precise, like a doorbell for a smaller house inside ours. London, she said when she caught me counting. Their morning keeps trespassing on my midnight. She started showering in the dark. Migraine, she told the mirror. I learned to shave by memory and called that loyalty because questions cost a currency you never get back. The app had a memories tab because engineers like to pretend they are helping. On this day, it cooed and presented photos, a candle bent toward 2 glasses, the stubborn shine of a polished fork, a slice of chocolate fig that had been told to behave. In every reflection I searched for my mouth and found a stranger's sleeve instead. The caption under one image from last month read, Milo compliments the 2014, as if the wine and the man had come out of the same barrel. Evidence is the frightened man's hobby. I made a folder on my laptop named Tables because I wanted the work to sound unromantic. Into it went screenshots of the reservation, the memories, the maitre d's cheer. In the drawer by the stove I found the obedient half of a cufflink, mother of pearl in gunmetal, the size of a coin you pay a ferryman when you owe him the truth. I held it up to the kitchen lamp and watched my face bend wrong inside its milky eye. We met in a stairwell on the night the elevator taught patience. Stairwells tell the truth, she'd said, shoes in one hand, a grin rehearsed toward mischief. On the landing she pressed her thumb to the thin place at my wrist and asked me to keep still while she memorized me with her mouth. Later, in my bed, she slept with her palm on my ribs like gravity had asked for a cosigner. In the morning I photographed her shoulder in honest light and believed the room had promised to remember us kindly. At 7:12 she padded into the kitchen wearing my t-shirt and the practiced calm of a person who has repeated the lines until muscle learns them. She kissed my mouth with accurate affection, the kind that recruits your body while sparing your hope. You're an early saint, she said, opening the fridge. The tablet, still cheerful, showed the chandelier again, as if our counter were a window into someone else's dinner. Reservation app thinks we're celebrating something, I said. I turned the screen toward her. Confetti did its little insult. Her face didn't break. That's a skill people don't admit on resumes. They mix people up, she said, shrugging into the mineral scent. Under the table her foot slid along my shin. Our oldest code, stay. We ate eggs because heat persuades minutes to sit still. Later, in bed, she crossed her knee behind my thigh and guided my hand under her shirt like a person turning on a lamp she trusts. My mouth found the coin of heat beneath her collarbone. She made the low vowel that dims a city. We moved with the fluency of people who still remember their lines. In the middle, her eyes went elsewhere and returned with apology penciled in the corners. Pencil erases clean if you don't press. I didn't press. I kissed sign what I could. At noon, I walked to the restaurant for air, which is what men say when they want architecture to confess. In front, vines tried to convince brick that time is just green patience. Inside, the room smelled like roasted truth and time. A woman with a ledger for a brain and a smile that knew where everything should go looked up. "Welcome," she said, then softer. "You're early, Mr. K. Anniversary tonight." "Remind me," I said, keeping my voice polite enough to pass as a shirt collar. "Table 17, she said, pleased at the world for being a list she could maintain. "Corner, your favorite. Chef has the fig ready in case she changes her mind." "She always does," I said, and watched a lie feed itself my throat. I chose a seat at the bar. The room flexed its knowledge. A man whose hair was parted by geometry and whose jaw had always been answered took the corner near where velvet meets the wall. Slate jacket, the posture of a person who expects rooms to audition. He didn't look around for permission. The bartender poured him something that knew better than to be cheap. The man lifted 2 fingers, just enough to move air, and the conversation around him arranged itself. I went home with nothing but clean hands and the milky eye in my pocket. Sunday wanted witnesses. Courage likes even numbers. Her brother Markian is decent and understands the price of silence. My friend Arena moves heavy furniture and refuses to narrate it. I invited them for dinner and called it a menu test because parties are scaffolding. The apartment learned to smell like garlic telling the truth. At 7:52 she texted 15, which in our new arithmetic means 30. At 8:23 she arrived with indoor wind on her cheeks and kissed me with accurate affection in front of them, practicing civility like a sport. We ate. Laughter borrowed our mouths because it is a gracious thief. After coffee, I set the tablet on the table and opened the reservation again, confetti and all. "We've apparently been married longer than my shirts," I said, aiming for gentle, landing near honest. Arena put her palm flat on the wood, the old sign for do not let the table try to fly. Markian studied my face instead of the pixels, which is a discipline and a blessing. "We should talk privately," Alia said, the conference room clearing its throat in our kitchen. "We will," I said, "but I need witnesses that I didn't dream a chandelier." They left. The room remembered how to be only a room. Alia scrolled the app with 2 fingers as if she could pinch to zoom the night into decency, then set the tablet down like a cooled pan. "I told myself it was a hallway," she said finally. "Somewhere I could stand without a tour guide. I liked the echo." She reached into her coat pocket and found the cufflink half I thought I had hidden from myself, turned it once in the light and set it beside the tablet. "Is he married?" I asked, bureaucracy for ghosts. "Separating," she said. "A son. 8. "Do you love him?" The word is small until it asks for a chair. She tilted her face toward the ceiling crack that looks like a river refusing to choose a mouth. "I love who I am when I stop narrating," she said. "With you I started describing myself from outside, like I owed footnotes to every breath." He turned the placards around and said he believed the painting without the text. She looked at me with a courtesy that didn't misrepresent the harm. "I loved us like architecture," she said quietly. "I wanted weather." "We're going to separate," I told her. "We did the clean work a knife does when you ask it to be kind." She nodded, and the hinge between her collarbones relaxed with a relief I wouldn't rename cruelty because it wore its own badge. "Do you want me to go now?" she asked. "I want you to stop letting apps rename us," I said. "Pick a door, I'll take the other." Leaving appears fast only to people at different tables. She took the hoodie, the charger that fits everything, and the scent that had colonized corners. She left the cufflink half, the tablet that had celebrated someone else's vows, and a kitchen that wanted to go back to Basil. At the threshold, she lifted her hand toward my wrist, the old code, thumb to the thin skin, and changed her mind midair. The absence of contact left its mark anyway. "I was happy," she said, "and greedy, and afraid. And sorry." "You were alive," I said. "So am I." He wrote once as scripts require. Corporate letterhead arranged into contrition, respect, timing, a hope we could proceed as gentlemen, a noun that fails most modern stress tests. I forwarded it to a lawyer whose office lives above a cobbler. The stairs smell like leather and old rain. She asked the only useful question: "Outcome or scene?" "Outcome," I said, surprising the organ in me that budgets for tragedy. "Good," she said. "Bring boring dates, doors, dollars, screenshots over speeches. One witness who loves you without auditioning, and don't send your heart by text. Judge's itch." I forwarded his email to Irina, who replied with the three-word liturgy I keep by the stove: block, breathe, boil. I boiled water until the window wrote a softer weather over the city's hard face. The bed learned my outline again. The two-note phantom chimed in my head at 12, 11 for a week, and then retired when I stopped setting a chair for it. I opened the app and deleted every memory, turned off "Celebrate Milestones," renamed our household profile to my unsentimental full name. The app wanted to keep a copy of the chandelier. It received a polite no. Desire didn't resign. It rearranged its shelves. Some nights my body remembers the exact pressure of her knee hooking behind my thigh and the soft, unreasonable sound she made when my mouth found heat under her collarbone. Memory is accurate and unkind. I let it sing to the chorus, and then I make tea. The kettle's small scream is the only emergency I obey after midnight. I press my thumb to the thin place at my wrist where her old code used to land and listen to the sentence the body never misquotes: "Here, here, here." Once, because endings itch, I went back to the restaurant at 9:30 p.m. and sat at the bar in a shirt that didn't ask to be more formal than I felt. The chandelier dimmed itself like etiquette. Table 17 waited in its corner, the wall performing intimacy for anyone who paid. The maitre d' recognized me and smiled the careful smile for men near the end of a play. "Just one tonight," I said. "The chef's tasting for one." She nodded like she'd been practicing kindness, and sent the server with a martini that didn't pretend to know my mouth. The tasting menu arrived like a soft interrogation: salt, acid, heat, a memory of smoke. At the end, the chocolate fig stood there on its slate like a witness who had learned to swear. I ate it slowly and liked it without pretending I didn't. The bar's mirror kept me company by not understanding who I was. I tipped like apology and went home with air that tasted only like outside. I learned the boring heroics. I scrubbed the mineral perfume from the curtains until they remembered the syntax of soap. I replaced the flickering bulb over the sink before it lied. I taught the dishwasher humility with vinegar and a lecture. I placed 2 chairs on the too narrow balcony and let one be empty without inventing a ghost for it. I opened the window an inch and let the city wash its face. I salted water. I turned the lamp low. The decree arrived on paper thick enough to cosplay gravity. I folded it and slid it beneath the tray by the door where keys and small solutions live. I took the cufflink half to a thrift shop and let it clink among other orphans in a porcelain dish. The woman behind the counter said to the air, "Some pairs sleep better apart," and I gave her the nod you owe strangers who bless you without auditioning for your story. The last time I saw Alia, the elevator performed its secular trick of coincidence. We arrived at the lobby on the same chime. She wore a coat the color of decisions and carried a paper bag of oranges like a rationed son. "Hey," she said, neighbor quiet. "Sleep." "Better," I said, and the word didn't ask for applause. She adjusted her scarf and didn't touch my wrist. I admired her restraint and then my own. The doors closed and returned each of us to our earned floors. Sometimes, out of mischief or mercy, I book a table for one at the place that doesn't know my name. I ask for the bad seat by the door and watch people arrive carrying the evenings they deserve. I order the second cheapest wine because I like the honesty of that decision. If a reservation app ever again tries to celebrate an anniversary I don't have, it can keep its confetti. I know which promises are mine to keep. Morning finds a way through the small glass. The kettle lifts its voice. The room remembers me without a calendar. And when I lay my palm on my own ribs, I take attendance and answer out loud. Present.